It's not confidential. I have potential, okay? Rushing around. What's up? I'm Trent Windsor, and we're here in search of the perfect shuffle. It's time for another segment of Clearing Out the Archives, where I shuffle my music, and whatever album comes up, I rate it song by song. If a song is more than 50% skippable, I get rid of it, and if I would skip it less than half the time, I will keep it on my playlist, keep it in my shuffle. Last time we hit shuffle and we landed on Hot Fuss by The Killers. The Killers are probably one of the best known pop rock groups out there today. Coming out of Las Vegas, they released their debut album, Hot Fuss, in 2004. Singles like Mr. Brightside and Somebody Told Me really skyrocketed them to success and fame and widespread recognition. But was this album deserving of all of the attention? Let's find out as I review it track by track. The first track on Hot Fuss is called Jenny Was a Friend of Mine. This song starts out with some helicopter noises, some sirens, kind of puts you in the scene. But what really sets the tone for this song and really forms the foundation is this super funky bass line.
Slap the bass.
It's very recognizable, very catchy, and it really gets your attention from the start. Here we're introduced to the very bright and fuzzy synths that we'll get throughout the album. These synths really hint to me at their Las Vegas roots with the big lights and the neon. The whole vibe is kind of personified by this fuzzy, bright, and intense synth. We are also introduced here to Brandon Flowers and his uniquely frantic and somewhat emotionally unstable voice. I wouldn't say that it's fragile, it's definitely a powerful voice, and he can really hit those notes when he has to. He's really good at bringing out the emotion in the songs. It's a pretty gritty song with some gritty subject matter. The protagonist of the song, he's being questioned about his ex-lover who was murdered. So that's pretty intense, really gripping way to start an album. But I think it's a great song. It definitely has become a classic, especially among Killers fans. This one, I would say, is 30% skippable. Song number 2 on this album is called Mr. Brightside. This is one of those songs that just never fails to get white people turned. You turn on Mr. Brightside, you just hear that little ding 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 ding, and everybody just is like, white people go full Super Saiyan for this song. It's got these upbeat, bright guitars, and it's juxtaposed with these dark lyrics. The protagonist is pretty sure that his girl's getting jiggy with the cab driver once he leaves. I always imagine cab drivers as these big, hairy, sweaty dudes. When he says she's touching his chest now, I just imagine like, the cab driver's like, hey, yous wants to get naked, sis? I don't know why the cab driver is that dude from Futurama, but that's what I imagine. This is actually The Killers' first ever recorded song. And I think you can really tell by the simplicity of the lyrics. There's really only one verse and it's just repeated. The repetition of the song makes it a very good sing-along. It really works in this case and turns out to be a real banger of a song. One that anybody can get behind. Brandon Flowers wears guy liner in the music video, which is all anybody could ask for, right? This song is 20% skippable. The next song on this album is called Smile Like You Mean It, and for me, it's another one of these upbeat bangers that the Killers just crank out on this album. In this one, the synths really take center stage. It's another one that has a pretty repetitive and simple chorus. They do it in such a way that it's not annoying and it makes for a good sing-along. So, if you do repetition right, it can be great. But sometimes it gets grinding. It's a really beautifully simple coming-of-age song. The lyrics of this song have always really struck an emotional note with me, especially in the bridge. He talks about how someone is calling his name from the back of the restaurant. He has a job now instead of just eating out with his family. Someone is playing a game in the house that he grew up in. He's not a kid anymore. Somebody else is living in the house that he grew up in. Someone will drive her around down the same streets that I did. He's not even with his childhood sweetheart anymore. I think that this song really hits the nail on the head of bringing out those emotions, addressing them. This is my favorite song on the album for sure. And maybe my favorite Killers song in general. I would say it's 10% skippable. The fourth song on this album is called Somebody Told Me. This is another one that most people have heard before. It's a very hard-hitting, gritty rock song, which is once again heavy in the synths, which give it this neon Vegas flair. The dude's really in a dark place on this song. This one always has me waxing philosophical because he says, "Somebody told me that you had a boyfriend who looked like a girlfriend that I had in February of last year, and he's upset about that." Is his ex dating another girl? One of his other exes? Maybe his ex is dating a boy, but he's pretty feminine looking. He looks like one of Brandon's exes. Maybe his ex got a sex change and now she's a boy. So his ex-girlfriend has a boyfriend who actually is another one of his ex-girlfriends, but she's now a boyfriend. I can't tell, but it's another rock pop banger. Just 3 in a row right here. Easy to sing along, fun to listen to, dance, move your body, get going. This one is 25% skippable. The fifth song on this album is called All These Things That I've Done. We see Brandon Flowers really reflecting on the things he's done and wondering if he can ever be worthy again or be considered enough. Overall, we still have the bright guitars. It's still an upbeat song, which is something that the Killers do so well, is juxtaposing the darker lyrics with the brighter instrumentals. This is another one that has a lot of emotion behind it. I've seen the Killers twice in concert, so maybe that can communicate to you some of the bias that I have. Both the times that I've seen them play this song live, I've gotten a little bit teary-eyed because it really has a lot of emotion behind it. And it's something that I think everybody can relate to. We all have regrets in life, we all have made mistakes. This all comes to a head in the bridge where we get this chant of, "I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier." It starts out just very low. Slowly but surely, more voices are introduced. We get layers upon layers upon layers of harmonies. We've got these gospel choir voices, really powerful, punching through the noise. It all comes to this huge climax. Everybody's going crazy. Everybody's singing their heart out. Those gospel singers are just soloing and riffing, and it just sounds amazing. And it's so euphoric and so righteous. It's definitely the high point of the album right there. It gets me going. It's really incredible moment. This is another song that is 10% skippable. The back half of this album is a little bit more underwhelming than the front half, but we still have a few gems. The sixth song on this album is called Andy, You're a Star. This song is a little bit more of a slow burn, but it's not unenjoyable. They keep it short, so even though it is a slow burn, it's still over soon, so it feels like a normal length song. It's very fuzzy. It's almost got like a cowboy western feel to it. From what I've heard from my sources, Andy is actually like a gym teacher or like a football coach at a high school, and he doesn't like it when you bring up this song. Yeah, I mean, the point of the song is Andy isn't as great as he thinks, right? So, suck it, Andy. This one is 40% skippable. The next song is called On Top. And this one is just a generally fun, upbeat song. This one's got a synth-heavy feel. It's also very Las Vegas inspired. I mean, I don't have much to say about this one. It's a pretty fun song. We got some catchy melodies in there. The synths can be kind of dreary at times, but otherwise it's a generally good song. This one is 35% skippable. The next song is called Change Your Mind. It's a breakup song. He just wants to change her mind about breaking up with him. But once again, you got the catchy melodies. It's an easy sing-along. In my mind, it's decent enough to keep around. It's not up to the same level as some of the other really great songs on this album. So I would say this one is 40% skippable. The next song on this album is called Believe Me, Natalie. It's one of the more forgettable melodies on the album. The bridge is kind of corny, and the repetition really doesn't work on this one like it did on some of the other songs. But it's not a terrible song. It's passable, but I wouldn't keep it around. This one is 60% skippable. After that, we have Midnight Show, which is an incredibly dark song about a sexual abuser / murderer. It's got a lot of the elements that make a lot of the songs on this album great. You know, some really energetic and driving guitars, a really emotional performance from Brandon Flowers himself, even a decently catchy melody, but the dark subject matter really pushes it over the edge for me and makes it so that I don't really feel super comfortable listening to it. So for that reason, this song is 55% skippable. The last song on this album is called Everything Will Be Alright. This is another slow burn, but unlike Andy, You're a Star, Everything Will Be Alright is incredibly long, and the slow burn doesn't pay off at all. It's very dreary, woozy. Brandon's voice sounds like it's coming through an underwater intercom or something like that. The percussion sounds like a pre-programmed beat on a keyboard. All of it is just very underwhelming. This one is 80% skippable. And those are all the songs on the album. Mathematically, totaling everything up, this album as a whole is 37% skippable. Hot Fuss is an incredibly strong debut. It may seem homogenous at times, but the Killers have a really strong sound, and through that have created some certified gems. The low points on this album really are not that low, and the high points are incredibly high. Alright, let's shuffle our music and see which album I'll be reviewing next. Alright, so we're just going to go into our music library here, hit albums, and shuffle. Alright, looks like the next album I'll be reviewing is the Black and White album by The Hives. If you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notifications, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about The Killers. Let me know what you think about this album in general. I'd love to hear your opinion on any of the songs I just reviewed. I'll be linking the music videos for some of the songs in this album in the description below. And keep an eye out next week for my review of the Black and White album by The Hives. I'm Trent Windsor, and this is The Perfect Shuffle.